Hello, welcome back. Here is Ali Talabi, and this is the second lesson from Module 13. As I promised, today we are going to talk about the beta and how we can estimate or calculate the beta. I'm going to show you a real example and I will walk you through step by step and I will show you the different steps you need to follow to estimate the beta. So let's start our session. So I'm using the Yahoo Finance to get data. So it's free to get access. You will have access to the data, to daily, weekly, or monthly data for any publicly traded stock. So I'm using Apple case. So I'm in Yahoo Finance. I just entered the AAPL, which is the ticker for the Apple, and now it took me to this web page as you see here. So if you look at the different tabs here, you see one of those is historical data. So I just click on the historical data. So it takes me to the historical price for Apple. Now, when it comes to beta estimation, there are several ways for sure you can estimate the beta. The best way you can estimate the beta is using the 3-year data on weekly or monthly basis. So first of all, you need to make sure the stock you choose has at least 3-year data available to look at, because some of the stocks are recently listed. So maybe you don't have the data for 3 years. So it's very challenging to calculate the beta for those stocks because you have limited data, and projecting the beta is not the best way of using just limited data. So you need to have at least 3-year data. So it should be long enough. The stock should be long enough listed in the stock exchange. Anyway, so you can go with 3-year data. Now you have the option to go with the weekly or monthly data. Maybe say, Ali, why weekly or monthly? If you go with daily, you will have too much noise or errors in your data. So it's better to go with either weekly or monthly data. If you go with monthly, you will have 36 data points. If you go with weekly, you will have around 150 data points. So I'm going to show you the monthly one, but you can also do the same thing for the weekly data. So I'm going to choose first the timeline. As I mentioned, I will go with last 3 years. So we are in November 2020. So I'm going with 2017. So from 2017, 18, 19, 20. So we're talking about 3-year data. So done. And then this is historical prices. I'm not going to touch that. The frequency, as I mentioned, you should go with weekly or monthly. In this case, I'm going with the monthly. And based on this, I just apply the data. Now I have the monthly historical price for Apple. So you see there are several headers here. You have the open price, the high price, low price, close price, or adjusted close. In this case, you should go with adjusted close. Why? What's the difference between the closing price and the adjusted close price? Adjusted close adjusts the price based for the stock split or the stock dividend. So in other words, it already automatically adjusts your price based on those changes, because we know, for example, the stock split reduces the price but also increases the number of outstanding shares. So adjusting close, it just automatically adjusts these changes. So you don't need to be concerned. So don't go with the closing price, just go with the adjusted close. So I need to export this data to Excel file. So I just download the data, and when you hit the download button, you see that actually it saves in the format of CSV, and later we can convert this CSV to the XLS, and I highly encourage you just to do that, because when you go with the CSV, any formula you use, it won't be actually saved in the CSV format. So it's better to change in the XLS, or the new version is XLSX format. So I'm just going to save as. When it comes to here, you see you have all the formats in the XLSX, which is the latest version of Excel. So I'm just saving. So here you see on the header that's showing XLSX format. So the only data or information I need from here is adjust the close, so I can get rid of the rest, and I don't need the volume as well, so I can just keep that. So this is for Apple or AAPL, so a stock price for AAPL. So I need another set of data for the market. For the market, you can use S&P 500 or NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, or any other major market index. The S&P is a very common one. So you see GSPC, it's S&P 500, so I can use S&P 500, or you can use the ETF based on the S&P, which provides the same type of return. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm just choosing the S&P 500, the actual index. And again, I'm going just to follow the same steps as I did for the stock. So I just look for the historical data for the market index. And I just set my dates for the last 3 years. So and I'm just changing the frequency, so that's a monthly. I need to make sure that's for the last 3 years, and I just apply the changes, and then I download into the CSV form. So when I download it, I just open the Excel file. So you need to use just one Excel file, one spreadsheet. So don't just use different spreadsheet. Just what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the adjusted close for the market to the Excel file I had originally. Just make sure the order of date is same. I'm starting from the oldest data from 2017 December. So, and for the index also was from, now you see here it's showing from 2017 November. So it's a December, November. So what I do, just to avoid any confusion, just make sure that I have the same data. Here now I have from December 2017 for the index. For the Apple also I have December 2017. So your frequency and the dates should match. So you cannot use data from November and match it with December. So just make sure you have the data for the same period and the same frequency. Now I can copy the adjusted close for the market index to the Excel spreadsheet I have from. So now we are comparing the right set of data, and here let me just call it S&P 500. Now, after having all the data ready, we have the stock price, we have the index value. So the next step is to calculate the return for both the stock and the index. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a new column for the return first. So how we calculate the return? We know the return is the differences. For example, for the stock, you're talking about the P1 minus P0 divided by P0. So it is showing the return. So let me just write it down here. So the return. And remember, the beta is calculated based on the return, not based on the price. I've seen this mistake many times. A student just to use the stock price. No, don't use the stock price for the beta. You have to find the return first, and then you will find the correlation between these two returns. So this is the return for Apple. So what I do, I'm just saying, so it's 2017, then so is it December 2017, then January 2018. So 1 month after. So I start from here because I'm talking about the last month's historical return. So it should be the price here. So what is your price? $40 minus the previous price divided by the previous price. So here is showing the return for the last month. So I just convert it to the percentage, so much easier. And I go with at least 2 decimal places. So it's showing for the month of December, the return has been negative 1.6%. Now, what about the rest? You don't need to be concerned about the rest because automatically you can just go to the corner of the cell, double click on that, and automatically the Excel will generate the return for the following months. We can double check, see, for example, what happened to that 13%. That's B7 minus B6 divided by B6. That's exactly the return we're looking for the months of April, for example. So we do the same thing for the index. So what I do, I just copy the formula I had here and just paste here. So you see, just double checking, make sure that I have the right formula. So it's showing the return for the months of January for the stock is 5.62%. Same thing, go to the right corner of the cell, double click on that, and it will generate the return. So this is the return for S&P 500. Now, I have return for the market. I have the return for my stock. And remember, based on the beta coefficient and based on the characteristic line, our independent variable is the market. So market, let me just write it down, is my independent variable. And your dependent variable here should be Apple. So, or your Y here is Apple, your X is the market. And we can draw a line and we can find the slope. So in Excel, simply you can use the slope equation. So let me go to the end of my data point here. So what is my goal here? My goal here is to find the slope of the line. So the slope of the line, the formula in the Excel is actually a slope. So I'm just using the slope here, as you see. Now, you see when you hit the equation slope, it shows non-y's and x. Just here, you have to be careful. Don't mix them up. Your y is dependent variable, which in this case is the stock. So I'm just choosing the stock Apple, you see, so the return for the stock. And then non-x, your x here is the dependent, independent variable, which is the market return. Again, don't go with the value or the price, just we go with the return. So I choose that, and then I calculate the return. You have to be careful because here is showing in terms of percentage. I'm just looking for the I'm just looking for the slope. So let me just change the format. You see the format is in percentage. I go with the general. So I go with the general. Now, what is your beta? Your beta is 1.29. So here is your beta. So what does it mean? It means that for each percentage of changes in the market, which is S&P 500, my stock, Apple stock, is changing by 1.29%. And that's what we expect from a kind of a tech company such as Apple. So that's how we calculate the beta. I hope it was helpful. You can also use the regression formula or the covariance formula to find the slope. Here is, I would say, the easiest way. You can go ahead and calculate the beta. I hope it was helpful. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Here is Ali Talabi. Take care.